pressure is heightened on China to answer for missing tennis star Peng Shuai's whereabouts. The Athletic reporter Kavitha Davidson spoke to the People Every Day podcast about the disappearance of Peng Shuai after the tennis star accused a government official of sexual assault. With Chinese tennis player Peng Shuai still reportedly missing after she accused a Chinese government official of sexually assaulting her earlier this month, a reporter who has been covering the athlete's case says pressure is growing on China to answer for her whereabouts. Peng, 35, has not been seen publicly since she accused Zhang Gaoli, a former member of the Communist Party's Standing Committee, of forcing her to have sex years ago. Peng posted the accusation on Weibo November 2, but the post has since been deleted. Kavitha Davidson, sports and culture writer for The Athletic, who has been reporting on the tennis player's disappearance, explained the latest developments in Peng's story on Friday's episode of the People Every Day podcast hosted by Janine Rubinstein, pointing to recent calls from tennis pros including Naomi Osaka, Serena Williams, Petra Kvitova, Nadia Petrova, and Andy Murray. Davidson said some of the biggest names in tennis are using the hashtag #WhereIsPengShuai to put pressure on China to answer for her whereabouts. But Davidson pointed out that it's not just fellow players who are speaking up. The Women's Tennis Association, WTA, has also voiced their concern for Peng, especially since an email was released Wednesday by the country's state-owned television broadcaster, CGTN, claiming to be written by Peng. The message denies that she had been sexually assaulted and insists that she has been resting at her home. The head of the WTA has said, unequivocally, that they are very concerned about what has happened here. They do not believe that the email that Chinese state media put out is true, Davidson told Rubinstein, and they are threatening to pull their partnership with China, which is not a small thing. She continued, the way that this email reads, and I don't say this lightly, this sounds hyperbolic, but it reads a little bit like a hostage note, before clarifying, I'm not saying that necessarily Peng is being held hostage, but the WTA itself has said that they doubt the veracity of, and the origins of this email. Peng's email was released in English and sent to English-speaking media, Davidson explained. She added that the tennis star's message had not been covered by Chinese media locally, and it was obviously released by Chinese state media. Davidson also detailed how China has been increasingly invested in tennis in the past decade, making the case of Peng's disappearance and its potential consequences even more significant. A lot of future tournaments, juniors tournaments, and now the WTA finals, are held in China. They bid for those tournaments, she said. So for the WTA to threaten to pull out of what was a 10-year deal signed in 2019 is a huge deal. You're talking millions and millions of dollars. In particular, the upcoming Winter Olympics could be complicated by Peng's disappearance. China is set to host the upcoming Games, which are scheduled to take place in Beijing from February 4 to 20, 2022. There is significant pressure on the International Olympic Committee, IOC, to do or say anything here, Davidson said, adding, whether or not they will, I think you can be cynical, as I tend to be, and say there's way too much money at stake here. After the tenuous Olympics that we saw in Tokyo, the IOC is going to take what it can get. Having a major partner like Beijing, like China, is not something that they would want to wrinkle, she continued. But at the same time, you have seen pressure like this exist on the IOC before. And so I think that you will start to see a lot more national and international pressure, either from athletes or from governing bodies. I think definitely you will continue to see that kind of pressure heightened.